The current spoiler warning level is infracrimson.
Friends and folks, for this episode you're looking at a spoiler warning level of infracrimson. Haven't used that one in a while. We're talking about a number of machines from Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Freedom, the movie from last year. So obviously pretty far away in GGP's future, the Great Gundam Project. And also we talk about significant plot elements, so it's not just mechanical spoilers, it is serious plot spoilers. So if you haven't seen this movie and you do care about plot spoilers, I would recommend tapping out here. But it's a bad movie and you shouldn't care, so, up to you. Please enjoy the episode. Hello friends and folks, and welcome back to another episode of Mechanista and G. What would Gundam Quad Color be? I'm Six Detmar.
I'm Dylan. Depending on who you argue with, some would already argue that the tricolor is a quad color.
Sure. As soon as I said it, I was like, I guess you could say,
The problem is, I'm pretty sure... Well, the problem is, is the yellow or is the white the thing that's not counted, right? Because the yellow is a very minor detail, and the white is, white as a thing is not always seen as color when it comes to, artistic works in that way. So
I feel like it could go either way, because you could make the pedantic argument that white is the absence of color, right?
Yeah. Or it's all the
or it's all the colors, yeah, which
doesn't
whatever.
fit.
But
real life doesn't fit that way, but
But you will see stuff called Gundam Tricolor that lacks the yellow.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but the other thing, when I think of, accented flags that are still called a tricolor flag, the white on the flag is usually the color, still considered part of the tricolor. Usually it's they'll have an emblem or a symbol or something in the middle of the flag that is another color,
So would Gundam Quad Color then kind of be 5 colors? Just one of them, for some reason, people don't count?
I don't know.
Is it like a baker's dozen?
I don't know. I know for instance, the flag of India or the flag of Mexico are considered tricolor flags, because they have 3 major color bars. But obviously, you look at the Mexican flag and you look at the emblem in the middle and it's but there's a lot more colors there,
Sure.
But that's still a tricolor flag. And sometimes it's not even that complex, sometimes it's just, hey, we have a black star in the middle of the flag, or, just some other kind. Sometimes it's a simple emblem, sometimes it's a more complex one, sometimes it's multiple colors like the one on Mexico. Sometimes you have, India, which just has a single blue color for the middle emblem, so,
Uh-huh.
I am sure there are arguments that can be made all over the place for it, is ultimately what I'm trying to say, is that... It's an annoying thing where I don't even want to argue a side. I just want to discuss, what are all the possible definitions people can have. I don't need to pick a side. Oh, let's see. What is this? Ooh.
But you need to guess a robot.
I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh. That is a thigh with a line going down the middle. Huh. Interesting. These colors are really throwing me off, honestly. It wouldn't even just be the black and white, or it wouldn't even just be the grays. It's the extra white, on the tip of the side skirt there and stuff. This looks like a seed design to me. In terms of the, lines and stuff, this looks like an Okawara seed design, especially because of, okay, it's got the thick panel line running down the middle of the thigh there. Am I at least right on that?
You are right about that.
Okay. Am I right about the show?
Oh yeah, that's what I was concerned.
Oh, okay. I figured I was right about the artist. The show is honestly the thing. I was more it could be a non.
Yeah, you got both. You're right about the artist. You're right about the setting.
Okay. Ooh. All right. Is this one of the Black Knights from Seed Freedom? I don't think it. No,
it's one of the Black Knights.
Oh, it is
from Seed Freedom.
Oh, okay.
Yes. What I posted was the Shi-ve-A.
Okay. Yeah, so here's what happened. The reason I backpedaled, I was like, wait, no, they all have, a minor color on them, so it can't be that. But the minor color's on the chest, not on the...
Yeah, that's how minor the color is, in fact.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Alright, yeah. 1 second. MHQ Seed Freedom. I'm gonna just open up MHQ's thing. And pull up all these guys. So this would be, the Shi-ve-A, which is, like, kind of the commander of the Knights, I would say, in terms of its combat role, and, like, who pilots it and whatnot.
I mean, other than the commander one, but yeah.
Well, I thought this was used by,
Dr. Mario?
No.
Oh.
I don't remember anyone's name in that fucking movie!
Extremely fair. No, this one's used by,
Is this the mask boy that uses this one?
He's not the mask. This is the fucking the one who looks like what? Wow, that doesn't narrow.
Oh, the one who looks like Yazak.
Silvery,
yes, okay.
Silvery blue one.
You know what's funny is I combine the guy who looks like Yazak and the guy who wears the mask in my head.
That's fair. That's fair. I combined this guy with fucking one of the boosted men.
Oh, see, when I see his hair,
because he just looks like one of them.
See, when I see his hair, it looks like Yazak to me. Because other than he's got I hate his fucking bangs doing the little devil horns.
He's got devil horn bangs. They're so stupid. Combine that with his face, and I'm just like...
My guy looks like he's gonna be in a fucking Prodigy music video or some shit. I hate it.
My guy looks like he's about to tell Stella she's gonna die again to try and make her freak out.
God. Yeah, this guy sucks.
Weren't those good characters?
Anyway, right. So, yeah. So I guess now that I think about it, do we even see what's his face? Orphe pilot anything before the white mobile suit?
I don't think so. I think he just gets in that white thing.
Okay, yeah, okay. I forgot. Yeah, he pilots the what is it, the Cal-re. It's like the Shi-ve-A, Cal-re, and Rud-ro-A. I hate it because they spell it weird, right? It's like Shi-ve, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Shiva, just like how you also have Rud-ro-A. But it's Rud-ro-A. The seed, right? It's seed things. With these suits, but whatever. It's fine. Anyway, yes, so this is the sort of, unique one of the Black Knights, not including, the final one we'll be talking about today as well, but this is, out of the Mook Squad ones, this is, the lead one.
Sure.
It has a unique design, while all the others are the same in a recolor, and they're also all simpler.
I mean, yeah, I guess this is a unique design.
I mean, look,
you're obviously right. I just am not inspired.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just saying, yes, I'm saying these things without judgment on either way. I'm just saying I know you have the judgment.
If you're here, you're listening to me. I'm bringing the judgment.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to pull up a book because MHQ does not have the rear of this guy.
No.
I don't know if I have color rear art, but I do have one of the Seed Freedom books, and it does have all the sete in it. So give me a second. The thing about Seed Freedom is it's been now, I had delayed on watching it, and then I absorbed everything vicariously, and then I sort of half-watched it, and then admittedly, it's just out of my head now. I just don't have to care anymore. And then people were making a big deal because G-Gen Eternal had, oh, we're doing a new animated Gundam project, and it turns out, no, not really. Fukuda's not involved with it. They did some animation, but it's a weird interquel thing, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I mean, if Fukuda's not involved, it might be good.
It's for them. It's just a video game thing. It's just.
I don't think it will be. I'm just saying, you say that oh no, Fukuda's not involved. I'm like,
no,
that's
but
the best news I've heard all day.
What I am saying is that I don't have to worry as much. Whereas when Fukuda's involved, I feel like I will be more likely to see more about it, and it'll be inescapable. Okay, I've got the book open. Okay, yes, this one does. The color is so this is not a good scan. But here's this. It's just the black background annoys me on this with the robot, just because one, it's a little crunchy, the images, and two, it's just not a good thing for viewing like all the shapes of the robot, in my opinion. But anyway,
what can you do?
All right, the Shi-ve-A. This is the Black Knight one, used by Shura Serpentine. Okay, he is the commander, technically, of the squad.
Sure, I guess.
And yeah, so this machine, to describe it, these are all new Okawara machines for, Seed Freedom. I will say for Okawara on these, and I do like the Cal-re, we'll get to it, I don't entirely hate these designs, like I said, I actually like the Cal-re, but I like these because they seem relatively unique for Seed rather than doing a mono-eye thing or whatever. Though I guess one could make the argument that these almost feel a little Crossbone Vanguard-y. Knightlier for sure, but like, especially like the Cal-re just reminds me of like, doing like the gold filigree on it reminds me of some of the side crossbone stuff, I think is the main thing.
Sure.
But yeah. Or not crossbone, F91. But yeah. So to start with the head, we have a very helmet-like head. It's got a forehead jewel embedded in that is more of a camera. Rather than having, like, a forehead gem, like, a lot of mobile suits will have that is just, like, in between the V-fin. This one's, like, just the camera is embedded, rather than having a mohawk camera. Then, you kind of, it gets a raised helm. It doesn't raise to a point, it is flat on top. The sides of the head, you have these little, like, almost Valkyrie helmet wings, swept back on the cheeks. The white wing parts have 3 sections. The tallest section is a bit pointier and larger, and then you have a middle one and the bottom one, which is the smallest. The head is mostly black in armor, though you get some gray on the front of these the cheek vents there, and then the face itself also you have a contrasting gray color on the inside for the face. The face almost has kind of a T shape, is maybe the best way I could describe it, like a sharpened T. And it doesn't have visible eyes normally, but we do know that, this has some... It can do a couple of things. Let me pull those up real fast. The animation sete does not actually show the eyes for these units, but I know the models have them, so I just want to show those real fast.
You do get the dramatic little eye gleam.
Mm-hmm. Which is really... I do think that part's pretty cool. But... Where is it? Oh, right. Go all the way to the very bottom of the page. God, there were so many more releases in this in the for the Seed Freedom than I even thought about. Alright. But yeah, like, here's the sticker sheet specifically, just to show that also. You can see they've got either having the trail or just having the little dot eye, which is fun.
I like the idea of the trail. I don't think that looks very good, but
looks a bit better when like posed, I think. But I'd still probably go with the dot, honestly, just because it's more versatile in what you could do with it. Anyway, moving on to the torso. The torso is where we see one of the things that is a knock on the design for me, which this does the same thing as the Strike Freedom, where it has a gold inner frame. It's kind of a dull gold, but it is meant to be like a gold shiny inner frame, and I don't like it. You have it on the neck area and around the collar. Then you have on the top of the chest, you've got these two, I think these are just thrusters up here, actually, because it doesn't have... Yeah, it doesn't really have Vulcans or anything, so these might just be, these might just end up being, like, thrusters on the chest there. Because the spike launchers are on the inside, we know that, because we'll have to get to those, but... Anyway, yeah, so the chest itself, then, you have a large red pectoral plate put over the front of it. This has a clear divide in the middle. Spoiler alert, as I mentioned, it opens up. There are also these little hexagons that are elongated on one side that are embedded on the chest. You have just 2 on either pectoral, with the elongated part going towards the center. Rest of the chest, kind of just standard black blocky chest. You have a very visible cockpit door in the bottom middle of the torso there. You have a panel line running down the side. It does have a separate little waist section before it connects into the waist for the torso there. For the shoulders, you have these large flat shoulders. They've got a large bump of armor with like a little embedded, kind of reminds me of reaction armor. You know, it's got the little rounded divot carved into it. For the base of the shoulder there. The rest of it is just black armor, very flat on top, not super a lot of coverage on the top, just covers like, you know, the part connecting into the shoulder and then thins out as you go towards the end. When you hit the very end of the shoulder, it kind of hooks downward and you just get this last little point at the end. It also has, in lighter gray, these 4 on each shoulder, 2 on the front, 2 on the back of these like diamond-shaped protrusions, just ending in a big point on the bottom that just kind of stick down, teeth, from the shoulders. The biceps, very standard seed. You've got that thick panel line going down the bicep. You have the block joints that Agora tends to use in his modern work, and then for the arms, you have a rounded arm. Each arm has like a little buckler on it. These I don't think these aren't like beam shields on the arms, right? Yeah, it's just got the way the armor protrudes, because this has its own dedicated shield. Okay, couldn't remember. Always, you know, didn't look like it to me because it doesn't like have like a little cap that sticks out, but it does have like the little hard point that sticks out here. That's just for the actual shield that it puts on. And then gold around the wrist, golden hands, black hand covers on the back. For the skirts and the waist, you've got the crotch piece. You've got a red piece on top. The skirt is very much designed to look like it's all one piece. So even though like you know, you can see like a separation of these armor parts, the middle and the 2 front skirts just kind of are all like, you know, tightly wound together in how they are placed. The bottoms of the front skirts extend down a bit more, and they have this lighter gray armor at the end. The side skirts are very much Freedom Gundam inspired, where you've got but instead of having the rail guns, you just have holsters for beam sabers, which this has 3 total? Yeah, 3 total beam sabers.
Seems like 3.
It's because it can combine 2 of them into, you know, the double saber mode, so... And I guess then
but it can't
extra.
It can't have 2 double sabers, because... No. Question mark.
Because you'll just want a regular one in the offhand, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know, I'm just spitballing.
I can see that.
Anyway, but yeah, and then the inner armor of the side skirt, you have this, like, kind of wing-like piece that pops down, and has a bit more... It's not actually gray at the end for this piece, it's more of a white, like the hexagons on the chest. And then for the rear skirt, just a singular hexagonal elongated plate. I think it's hexagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Might actually be octagonal. Can't see the top of it because the backpack blocks it, but yeah. You know, just a big plate on the back, though. Then for the the thighs, you know, the part I recognized as being very Okawara, you've got this thick panel line running down the thigh. You've got these golden joints that are visible. Not really any detail on the thigh other than you have a little bit of visible side armor on the thigh that has some white lining around it. It's not like a huge extra piece of armor. It's just kind of like, almost just looks like a part of the thigh that's painted. Then for the legs, you have some hexagonal knees. They have a little orangish triangle on the top of them. Then you get a bunch of these like weird kind of bolted plates on the front of the leg, which I actually kind of like the look of. You have like a stack of 3 of them. They have more of those hexagons on the side of them. The bottom one is the largest, then you have a thinner one in the middle, and the smallest one on top. And then on the back of the leg, you have a large rounded thruster on like the midsection of the calf, and then on the very bottom of the calf, like in the opening where the foot is connected into, you have another thruster. No ankle armor really, just kind of the sides of the foot, or the sides of the leg armor pop down and go around the foot, and then you have the feet themselves. The feet also have the kind of bolted armor look. You have a base piece that is in the lighter gray with the little hexagons on it. The middle piece is black, but still has the light-colored hexagons. And then at the end of the foot, you have a little beam emitter at the end of each foot, since this does have the Justice Gundam, or the Infinite Justice Gundam, like, beam kicks. Then, the backpack, you have a pretty simple backpack. It's, like, 2 side thrusters attached to a middle thruster pod. The outer ones, have like these little wings at the bottom of them, of each of them. And then you've got these, the thrusters have these, like, large connectors in them. Dividers, not connector, divider in the middle of them that stick down, only on the outer
Like a
ones.
redirector.
Yeah. And then the middle one is just like a large white thruster, and has some red lining around the frame of it. Same with the outer ones. The other unique thing is these little wings at the end. You can see that so it's got the little wings on the bottom, and then it's a little hard to see because it blends in with the shoulder there, but it has these little protrusions on the side that are hollow in the bottom, which you can kind of see it in the picture there on the right. These little hollow bottom parts can project a sort of beam cloak out of the back. Just to use a picture of the model kit for an example. You can see the way it connects there is with the wings on the back, and then also these parts that stick out of the side there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Also, one sec six real quick. I'll be right back. I just need to grab a paper towel. Spilled a little bit of a drink.
Well, editing us to the video version is kind of a pain in the ass, so y'all are stuck with me. I'm gonna, however, make a note so that the audio version listeners can listen. I still think the video version is a superior way to experience this show. The visual aids really useful, but I do try and make the audio version at least a little cleaned up because I like cleaning things up. I like it when things are tidy. I'm actually dealing with a similar issue myself because I have my my Snackbox Micro, which is a type of fight stick, and I play a lot of fighting games, and I spilled soju on it, and the port has been a little fussy ever since, so I've been trying to clean that up. Rubbing alcohol on a shaved down toothpick has been the strat so far. It worked okay, but I still had a couple of errors periodically, so I might have to do more. Who knows?
Alright, apologies about that. It wasn't like a super big emergency, so after I knocked it over, I didn't get up immediately. I just wanted to finish the description, but yeah, it just spilled a little on my desk, and I was like, okay, well, I don't want this to like dry or anything, so time to quickly clean that up.
Sure.
Apologies for the quick delay. For a sec. Okay. Anyway, I assume you were just saying your thoughts on the design?
Nope.
Oh, nope. What were you saying in the space there?
I was talking about spills.
Oh, what happened with spills for you?
I'll worry about it off the air.
Oh,
The
yeah,
listeners already heard. They'll be bored.
Oh, right. Sorry. This makes sense. I didn't know when I came. I didn't know where I came in relative to the story.
Sure.
Anyway. Alright, so.
But yeah, this machine exists.
Yeah, that's fine. It's interesting because it's kind of, this is like I think the worst of the three, actually. Because
is that true?
I think the simpler ones have like almost a Shovel Knight looking charm to them in a weird way.
It's true.
And
I don't mind the head of this one.
The Cal-re is actually a decent design in my opinion. This one's the one I'm just like, about.
Yeah, it's like, I think these shoulders are stupid. I think the chest is stupid. I think these leg things are almost something, but don't quite make it.
Yeah.
I think the waist on almost every fucking seed unit looks like shit.
Do you feel like that when it comes to the model now? I'm curious, because a thing that always comes up with Seed stuff is how different the models end up looking versus, like, the Sete.
Well, why don't you post it? I
So,
haven't spent
here.
much time looking at the model.
So here's the model. Obviously not all the paint apps on it or anything, but you can see it has very different proportions on everything, like the shoulders and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, like, this is always a problem with Seed design. Also, the torso is actually so different in shape. This is something I think is always, like, a weird thing with Seed designs. Like, we've talked about it on other ones, too, where we've been like, yeah, this looks good as a model. For some reason, the show one looks like shit. See my opinions on the Dual Gundam. So I just find it interesting that it's so different.
It definitely saves the waist. The waist looks way better.
I think the chest shape works a lot better, too, when it has the
chest shape works better, but that red is terrible.
You don't like the shade of red that it uses?
I don't like its Jolly Rancher red, no.
That's fair.
And shoulders, I guess it's probably better. I think these look so bad. I still don't like it, but it's better.
Yeah. Just something I find interesting and always has to be brought up with, Seed stuff.
It's really funny is... Oh, can you put it back up real quick?
Sorry. Control-Z.
It's really funny that shoulders do the opposite, that on the show they're like innies and on the...
Oh yeah, on the model they are outies. That's weird.
It's just like, alright, you just did that for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe whoever was in charge of the model would just... I would guess Junichi Akutsu, because he usually handles this stuff, like the Astray guy. Not to mention some of these changes just feel like him. To me.
It's true.
But, yeah. Some other, like, notable changes on the model is, like, having the intentional gap between these layers of the armor, which I think actually looks better than when they're just tightly wound.
And the feet are a little more angled and look a little more, like...
You get more of a high heel and,
mechanical.
The beam, the saber emitters are kind of, like, at an angle. It looks better, I think, as a model, for sure. Then we can talk about the equipment that this has. So, we've got a solid saber, I guess you would call it. I'm trying to think of, I'm like, how do I word that?
It's got a sword.
Yeah, it's just a sword, but it's a weird sword. Look at this thing.
It is a weird sword. It's a katar. You like those?
Yeah.
It's a hollow katar.
But it's hollow, which is the thing I don't like. Yeah, this is the problem. Right?
Yeah.
It's like
it's a little dumb.
That's like the weird part is like it's like, why is it hollow?
It feels like it should also be a tuning fork.
Yeah, it does kind of have that. It's really strange.
I mean, it wouldn't be the stupidest power in this movie if it could, like, strike it against its shoulder and make sound waves that, like, made people go crazy.
I mean, yeah. Then we have the shield design, which I think the shield's alright.
Shield's alright.
It's got little
shield's
pincies, like little pinchers.
Yeah, it's pulling from a number of different, classic Gundams. Well, classic for me, I guess. I don't know. They're not, but like there's some curios in this. The shape kind of feels like the Endless Waltz manga, like Glory of Losers versions of the Sandrock and stuff.
I was also thinking like the Death Scythe's Buster shield, just
sure, yes, absolutely.
Just to show these also on the model real quick. Here it is in a pose with them. You have the shield with the open claw, and then it's just on the sword. Which again, I think I would like the Katar a bit more if it wasn't hollow. Just the hollowness is a little weird. But the claw's cool. Do like a shield claw. The other thing that the shield has, sadly not showing up in the Sete, is that the claw on the shield can be launched. It is a wire weapon. They can be launched out.
Well, and it's got a beam shield emitter too.
Oh, right. Sorry, that is the top of the shield, I should say. It's not actually the bigger claw, because you have the bigger grabby claw, and then you have the smaller claws on top that are the actual launched ones, as you can see here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it has a beam shield emitter on the front of it, which, does the model kit actually do that? No, it doesn't. Okay. But yeah, it's,
The screenshot from the movie, because of the way the movie does effects, as a still looks like shit, really blown out.
Yeah, there it is.
But, yeah.
But, And yeah, and then you have the beam sabers are beam sabers. They can combine into a double beam saber like most seat suits, and then it's got small little beam blades on the feet, very akin to like the Infinite Justice. Now they only come out of the feet; they don't connect up into like the knee or anything like the Infinite Justice. So it's just like I guess it's more Aegis or Arche. I guess would be maybe the better comparison there.
Sure.
But yeah. All right. So this is a and also when I mentioned the beam cape, the beam mantle obviously can be used as a weapon as well because it is still a beam. So you hit with it, it cuts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is the one that also destroys the Rising Freedom by using its most secret weapon of all. Not really shown well in the art here. I mean, you can see the chest is popped open. And basically what this fires is a bunch of little needle missiles like it's the Gan or something. Yeah, there you go.
Well, they're not really missiles even.
No, they're just solid needles, yeah.
It's a stupid weapon, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, well, if I remember right, it the whole thing with it is... Doesn't it just try to overwhelm the phase shift armor? So, like, when it gets fired at the, Rising Freedom, it just kind of makes it short out.
Right, but you know what else would do that is bullets.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Don't hate the idea of it, but yeah, no, it's just,
Now, if you were doing, like, mobile suit acupuncture to, like, specifically target the electronics, that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm onto something. Now I'm like, scheming up G Gundam 2.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Sorry if I don't sound as confident in the idea, but...
You're just a hater.
Look, alright, with these guys, we're only going to talk about, one of them. I believe, well, wait. Yeah, because they're all the same design. They're all just recolors of each other, right? I'm trying to remember. Does the green one have anything different on it? Let me double check. I don't think it does. I think they are all...
I think they are all just...
the exact same design.
Slightly color different.
Yes, they all...
Which one do you want to do? Which one do you want to post?
Well, okay. So because it's the one that got the model, let's just do the green one, which I think is Griffin's, right? Griffin Arbalest. Yes. Yeah, Griffin Arbalest. What number is he actually out of these? Because F1 is the orange one. Okay, he's F2. NOG M4F2. Again, you can do any of these interchangeably, though. All that changes is the accent color, so... yeah, so this is the Rud-ro-A, which I would assume, given the way the name is, much like Shi-ve-A, this would be based on Rud-ro-A.
You're gonna... I'm sorry, I have to. It's Rud-ro, Shaggy!
I hated saying it, because, yeah. The actual
I don't even like that joke.
The worst part is, the katakana for it, even though it's spelled RUD-RO.A, apparently it gets sometimes referred to as Roa, but it is Rud-ro-A. Rud-ro-A. It's just Rud-ro-A. Just call it Rud-ro-A. Fuck. Sorry, I hate the spelling of things in Seed a lot of the time, and I think Seed Freedom actually might have the worst examples of it. It's really funny.
Yes, Seed Freedom invents new ways for stupid naming. They don't stick with just, like, bad acronyms.
Yeah. It's really funny thinking on it. Anyway. So, yes, the Rud-ros, though, are the rest of the Sicko Squad use them. They're all Accords, so they're cooler than Coordinators. I forgot to mention they all have the femto technology, which is, special armor that absorbs beams. So, they can do things like, they have the femto, stuff going on, so they can absorb beams and recharge the batteries with it. I forgot to also mention they do all have Mirage Colloid, so they can create after images that confuse people. It doesn't use Mirage Colloid to turn invisible like most Mirage Colloid. And then the eyes are technically a laser targeting system, which, fair enough. That's... yeah.
Oh, I forgot how stupid the effect looked. Here's that femto kicking in.
Glittery. Yeah, just kind of bright. Alright, starting with the head here. You've got a taller head, a bit more of a point on it, still flat at the very top, but, you know, a bit more of a point. Still have the forehead jewel camera going on, embedded in there. It is green. It is fun because it has these, like, 2 little square cameras above it, so instead of it just being the jewel, it also gets, like, 2 sub-cameras above that. On the side of the head, you have 2 large blades sticking out of the, like, the ear parts of the head. You have some white lining around the face where the face is, and it almost looks like you just can't see the head underneath because of the way this helmet is designed. Since in reality, underneath all it is just, like, you know, the cameras and stuff. It gives it a very interesting look to this head, in my opinion, though, just in comparison, just by, you know, having, like, no visible face or anything. And it because of how open the bottom of the helmet is, it has more of that going on than the Shi-ve-A. It's like, you know, just for a comparison using the model kits, as you can see here on the Shi-ve-A, you know, you can see a bit more going on in there, I think, and just, like, the shape of the cheek armor is much more like mecha cheek armor, whereas this, you know, having the white lining just looks much more like a helmet, where you can't see what's underneath. Anyway. Yes, very, very much, like, God. You gotta use music for that.
Yeah, audio. Yeah, I guess that'll be the treat for the. Well, I guess video people in here too. I dropped in the Black Knight 2000 pinball key art.
Yeah, just have it play at the very beginning. People will get it, I think.
No way.
All right. Anyway, sorry. I just started. I'm like sitting here quiet because I'm just thinking of the soundtrack now.
We're both just sitting here quietly thinking about Black Knight 2000.
Look. It's
cooler than these machines.
This is fair. The torso, you've got, again, like a large thruster on either side. You have the frame pieces, you can see a little bit on the neck, and we'll get to it with the joints. On this, they're definitely more of like almost like a gunmetal color, where it's got like a little bit of like, it's not really like solidly gray, it's got a little bit of like tannish in it, but, you know, it's like very dull, so like I said, it just feels like gunmetal or something to me. But just a little tarnished. But yeah, so on either side of the pectoral, though, you've got these tall little thrusters on top. You've got a big green block in the middle, and then you've got, like, these little pectoral blocks that have these, like, little cut-in, thrusters, or, vents, probably, is what they are. Doesn't matter. And then the middle part of the torso dips inward a bit more, and then you have, like, this outer part at the very bottom that wraps around. Same with just having the panel line on the side. Very standard Okawara torso. You know what to expect. Then for the shoulders, you do have a large bit of armor at the base of the shoulder that sticks out on both the front and back. Kind of has the same reactive thing going on. It's got 2 of these little divots in it. The shoulders pop out a lot more, are not... don't have the hook at the end, and they're more hollow on the bottom of them. It doesn't have, like, the extra teeth from the Shi-ve-A, and then just has a green or the other accent color insert as necessary on the, like, top middle of the shoulders. And then for the bicep, same as you expect. It is a bicep with a thick panel line going down the middle. You've got the big blocky joint. You've got rounded forearms here. You don't have the buckler design that the Shi-ve-A has. Instead, you just have the large circular hardpoint sticking out of the side. Around the wrist, you get a wrist cuff, which has spikes going in, like, the way I feel like would be the wrong way to do them. Because it has a spike going in, and then it has 3 spikes coming out of the cardinal... coming out of, like, 3 out of the 4 cardinal directions on this. You have 1 jutting forward, 1 jutting backward, and 1 jutting inward. You don't have any jutting outward, and it feels like you should have it
because the shield goes there.
Oh, right. I guess that makes sense. I just feel like you shouldn't have this inward one. If you're
sure, I do agree with that.
Okay, but there is more of a reason. You are right, so I can't knock it too bad, because it is accounting for having the shield, and, you know, the shield theoretically could be on either arm, so, okay, that is fair. I'll give it that. I do think it looks a little goofy without the shield on, though. Because of that.
Oh, you're not wrong.
The waist, you get a green crotch piece in the top middle. Just 2 large front skirts. These pop down pretty far. The very end piece is in the accent color, green here, and then it has like 2 bolts on the bottom of them. The side skirts are just large side skirts, accent color on the bottom with a large thruster, and then the rear skirt, kind of the same design as the Shi-ve-A, though it's got this extra plating on the bottom. I believe that is also in the accent color, and then also has these 4 bolts in it, kind of like the front ones have the bolts. The thighs, you have just a panel line going down the middle, and then on the outer thigh, that like little bit of external armor that is kind of triangular and out there. Doesn't have the white line on it, though. You only can really see it like really well if you're looking at the black and white line art. The joint, standard, Seed era, or I say Seed era, standard Okawara leg joint. I mean, he draws them like this in build and whatnot too. This is just how he draws joints in the post-aughts era. You have these large let me see, how many sides are on this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Octagonal knees, they are a little tall. They have, on the sides of the octagons, you've got these areas wrapping around towards the back, towards where the, joint is. And then you have, just like a singular plate, bolted in, is what it looks like, in a lighter gray, and it's got these large bolts on it, and that covers the front of the leg. On the back of the leg, you also have in the mid-calf a thruster. This thruster has a large little like scoop below it for directing flow. And then, much like the Shi-ve-A, on the very back of the heel, like area above the heel where the foot is connected into, you have a round thruster. The feet are a similar design to the Shi-ve-A, a bit more squared though, less pointy. Still has like the 3 sections of foot though. They're kind of modeled after the same thing going on with the leg here, where you've got the large bolts in the side rather than the hexagons. Finally, for the backpack, very similar 3-part backpack. The main differences are this one has some extra little verniers around the top of either of the pods on either side, and then you've got a holster on the back here for the beam sword that this uses. Which you can see right here with the, the way the sword connects in it in the lower right there if you're on the video. But yeah. So yeah, this is the more mook-like of the Black Knights. Again, like with the Shi-ve-A, I think the model looks... Oh, didn't mean to delete the image, but there we go. I think the model looks much better in so many ways.
The model looks good.
Like, the horns on the head look a lot better there.
I think the
shoulder
gray
shape
on the head is a little rough, but otherwise...
I think
like,
these shoulder shapes are also a lot cooler when it's just, like, not just, like, the little small ones, but having the larger gray blocks there.
Well, and, I do agree with you that I think this is probably B-Craft, and I think his tendency to compact shoulders as opposed to Okuwara's to make them big and wide, I prefer Akutsu's instincts.
Yeah. I also think the skinnier legs honestly look a lot better, and of course I always like high heels on mecha, so him highing up the heels I like more. For external equipment though, besides the saber, need to also mention it has a beam rifle, pretty standard, it's fine. It's a beam rifle, it's got a scope on top, it's very boxy. It's got the same kind of opening end that a lot of the later Seed rifles have.
I like how boxy it is.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. It's just, it's a beam rifle. And then a bit more of a plain shield design here. I'm trying to see if I can remember. I don't think it has any... Yeah, no, and that's all it has is the rifle, the shield, and then the heavy blade. So,
yeah.
Just to pull up the model versions of these parts again. Scroll down, because obviously Schizophonic, who I use the reviews of, is going through all the details of the model. Here you can see the rifle here, along with the shield. It's interesting because, like, the way the shield is drawn, it is meant to just have, like, that kind of point, but it almost looks like it would, like, open up or split open, but it's not. It's meant to just accentuate that, these are 4 quadrants, which is, admittedly, a hard perspective thing to do in a black and white image, so I get why it looks a little weird.
Feels like it's trying to emphasize the more, like, Western aesthetic sensibilities of the Black Knights.
Mm-hmm. And then the saber, of course, being a Seed saber, you know what it's going to look like. It is a beam saber that, generates a beam between the two metal ends, has a metal point. It's fine. You know.
I do like that style of blade, though. I have always liked the anti-ship swords.
Yeah, I know. Again, this is not something I'm knocking it for. It's just, it's just interesting that this design comes so many years later, but is just doing, it is doing the seed things a lot. It's just funny because I think ironically, the Allied suits, I think, do some more interesting stuff overall, I guess, is the part I find interesting with these seed suits. Well, like, just the Gelgoog and the Gian doing some weirder stuff with, like, the way the equipment is done.
Sure,
more asymmetry and whatnot. Which is also funny given that those are the older designs. Whereas, because we have some of Okawara's stuff that started in, like, 2006, the Rising Freedom and whatnot, there's actually a lot of, they didn't really change very much in over 10 years of development hell, that the Seed movie went through, which I find interesting.
Well, they say people get more conservative as they get older.
Anyway.
That applies to their designs.
Alright. Final suit to talk about. We have the... Alright, let me see how this is actually... what this is based on so I could just call it the right name.
Why do I feel like we've already done this? I mean, I assume you're talking about the
Cal-re,
right?
Did we do that one?
My brain...
It's hard to look up because of the name.
Like it.
I thought we talked about it before off the mic, but I looked up.
Yeah, you might be right. That's all we did.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah. Okay.
Seed.
Because it's also hard to imagine where we would have done it.
Mechanista. Well, that's the Freedom Gundam one. I mean, that is technically the one we could have done it on, is the Freedom and Strike Freedom, but that was years and years ago. That was before this was even a real idea.
Have we not? But we did like the.
We've done
the Gian and stuff.
We did the Gian and the Gelgoog. I don't think we did the... Hold on. Gelgoog Menace? Mechanista? Okay, there's the Gelgoog Menace and the Gian. We just did those two together. The Gian Strom and the Gelgoog Menace.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking. I'm like, I don't know. I can't find...
Right. Must have just been us talking. Okay.
The only other... Let me look up Black Knight on Scanline Media. There's the Knight Gundam. Yeah, no, the only Mechanista is the Knight Gundam when I look up Black Knight. And you would have put in, I'm sure you would have called it that for the squad. So
okay.
Yeah. All right.
Fair enough.
Sorry for the discussion. Look, we've covered a lot of machines on here. Sometimes it's hard to know. Even with the list, it's sometimes hard to know.
Well, if somebody was better about keeping the list updated...
I'm sorry.
Dylan, that's my job.
I know, but...
That was a joke.
I know, but I could help.
If you wanted, I guess that's true.
Look,
I don't know if you have editing permissions on that one.
I don't think I do. Anyway, alright, so this is my favorite of the three, and we will talk about it. So, the head... we've got a Mohawk camera. It is gold on the front with white armor for the rest of the head. It's kind of an off-white, has, very Vignagina vibes. Again, probably another reason why I have all this, weird... This feels like a Crossbound Vanguard suit to me, is the colors on this. So you have this, very off-white with, it's white or gray with, a little dash of purple in it. The Mohawk camera there has a large horn sticking out the back at an angle. You have two head Vulcans in the head, which might not actually be Vulcans, honestly. Double checking to see if it has Vulcans. Nope, it does not, so yeah. But it looks like it does, probably because this is designed to be based on, the Strike Freedom and is trying to keep some elements of it. Which is funny, because I like this design so much more than a Strike Freedom. The cheeks, you have these ear parts that are spiky and sweep backwards, with a little bit of gold on the cheek vents on either side. Another T-shaped, same kind of camera style going on here. Around the face, you do have, again, very mecha-like rounded cheek parts going around the T-shaped area for where the eyes are in. The back of the head, around, the neck area, you have a little bit of armor covering around the neck, and that actually has some gold filigree on it as well. It has, a fleur-de-lis on the corners, and then it's just gold around the edges. Moving on to the torso, you have a top torso plate. Again, same fleur-de-lis thing going on. For the two corners and then the middle section of it. though the top corners are just flat and, just turn. It also has some gold armor around either side of that plate. Then you have the pectoral areas, which have some thrusters on the top and bottom. You have a little opening for a beam cannon here in the middle of the chest, or a little door, I should say. It pops open, I believe, there. Let me see. Yeah, okay, so yeah. Funnily, it's not that little door on the top, though. You would think it would be, but if you look at the art, this whole thing pops down, actually. Which is really weird, because it's drawn like a door there, but whatever.
I think it's drawn like a catch. Like, that's the part that where it stops.
Oh, okay, you know what? That is fair. And then the middle section here also has two fleur-de-lis, one on either side. It's hard to see because there's some weird perspective going on here. And, Okura draws these things at a very particular angle, and him and whoever are working on these sete are trying their best to keep all these in line, which is hard to do, I think. Just looking at the way that is there, because, this is not an asymmetrical machine. It's just, it's just drawn weird. The lower part of the chest here, you have almost like grates like in a knight helmet, like around the mouth plate, which is kind of fun. You have these like vertical little, vents going around. And then the section is sectioned off, kind of just, your standard multi-section Gundam chest going on. Gets thinner as you go down. The shoulders, pointy shoulders, very standard in shape, not a lot of fanciness on them other than the fleur-de-lis and the gold filigree around the edges. You do get a thruster embedded in the bottom hollow of them, and the thruster is gold around its edges as well, and it has like a little thing for directing the thrust on the outside there, like a little pointy part, which that's fun. The bicep, very Okawara Seed. You've got a thick panel line down the middle. You've got a bit of a rounder shoulder piece with a little thruster at the end. The joints are joints in gold. The forearms, you've got circular forearm parts. On either arm, the area around the wrist, you get blockier armor, and then connected on the outside of either arm is a white solid shield that has a little blue cap for a beam shield on the outside. And then also each of these has like little claws on them. It has like these double claws on either shield. And then around the wrist is gold, the hands are gold. A thing that bothers me with just the sete, and again, this doesn't come up on the model, is the joint gold and the hand gold and the thruster gold is a different gold than the filigree gold, and it bothers me that it's two different shades. Anyway.
Sure.
Then for the waist, you've got a purple crotch piece on top, a little bit of gold below that, and then just white and flat on the bottom. Simple skirt on either side, just has the gold filigree on them. The side skirts, you've got a large square thruster on the bottom of them, and a little hollow in the top for the two swords that this has. And they just hang out in there via the handle. The rear skirt is a single plate, but with a thruster in the back middle of it. Again, gold around the edges. The thighs, you've got a large panel line going down the middle, but then before you hit the bottom, instead of it just being a panel line running all the way down, you get this like horizontal panel line going around the bottom of the leg, which I do like. It just breaks up the leg a bit more than just doing the thick one. For the knees, tall knees, point at the end, gold filigree around the edges, thrusters inlaid in the knees, very freedom or strike freedom with the way these thrusters are. Get like some kind of vents or intakes on the top part of the calves on either the outside or the inside. And then on the inside, on either side, you have these little like intakes along the like front, these little like scoops on the inside of the legs. On the outside, you have a large square thruster. And then on the back of the calf, you also have a large boxy thruster with like a bunch of flat parts for directing the flow on the inside, a bunch of dividers. White high heels on either side. The feet are all white. Just has some slight high heels. The backpack, you have a large centerpiece that has a thruster on the bottom that has some little maneuvering flaps. And then you've got a total of 2, 4, 6... You have 8 of these wings in total. They are folded over on themselves, so you only see like the 4 on either side, but you can tell that they are layered together there. These wings are, of course, dragoons. and can either be outstretched like that, or, of course, fly off as remote weapons.
The model looks terrific.
Yeah, no, I think the model is the thing I like on this. Because look at that. It's pretty good.
I mean, I think the base design's solid anyway, but yeah, the model really
though,
makes it shine.
Just, I like these proportions just so much more. Even on a less detailed, not lined up model and stuff, it's just, It's so fun because, on one hand, sure, they didn't do, the purple on the wings here and stuff. On the other hand, at least they did all the gold. That was more than I was expecting. I thought this was going to be a nightmare for, doing...
stickers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it actually does do, pieces for all that, so that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so, an element you can see there, actually, can you put that back up, just Control-Z?
Sure.
The wings, when it launches, so, the only part that's actually the Dragoon is not the whole thing, it's only these bottom parts. And when it launches them all off, much like the Strike Freedom, which is actually a thing that annoys me, is that's how it activates its wings of light. It can only do that while the funnels are all off, and that's, my main knock on it. I just don't like that either of the designs has to have the funnels launched off to do that. But, whatever. That's fine.
On the other hand, one of the better shots in the show is, those funnels detaching to reveal the wings. It's
a cool shot. I just, functionally speaking, my brain just goes, but just make it so it works without that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, other armaments that this has, it uses, I believe it's honestly, looking at it, is it the same exact rifle? It's a pretty similar rifle. Yeah, it's the same rifle design and as the one on the Rud-ro-A. I'm comparing them just to make sure next to each other. Because that's the Cal-re, here's the Rud-ro-A. Yes, okay, it is that's the same rifle. Okay. The sword's a little different. The sword is rounded at the base, and then it has a more elegant look to it, is what I think it's trying to go for,
Yeah, it looks closer to a normal beam saber, and then just has the anti-chip sword kind of backing. But yeah, it lacks the hand grip and all the bulk on the bottom.
Mm-hmm. And you can see these on the model kit at least. Here. Here's with them being wielded. So yeah, 2 of those. Then it's got the beam cannon in the chest, again, very much like the Strike Freedoms. So the interesting thing about the Dragoons on this, so obviously they have the beam cannons in them because they're Dragoons. The thing that Seed Freedom went nuts with, and I don't know why so many things have this, because the shields on the Rising Freedom and the One Justice also do this. It's got these beam sabers that can pop out of the side of them, and it just feels like a lot of things in that movie do this, and I don't know why that's such a specific sudden thing.
It feels like it makes a kind of sense in the setting, because you have now people are getting this fucking femto armor that would block a beam shot but wouldn't a beam saber.
Mm-hmm. It's just...
So I guess that could be part of the law.
It just is weird, though, because, everyone has it. It's not just, one side does it.
True.
Is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's specifically weird to me in that both, the Rising Freedom has it, but also so does this, and I don't know, it just feels weird to me. Because it's not, something it's copying from the, Strike Freedom,
True. There's also one feature on all of these suits that we haven't mentioned, but... they can use their eye to do a little targeting laser.
Yeah. Oh, I did mention that earlier when I went through, and I just said...
Did you?
I said it wasn't really bear mentioning, though, because...
Oh, fair enough.
Well, just because it's just targeting with it, It does a little laser, but it's just,
I don't care, I just felt like... I must have missed you saying it, and I felt like it had to at least be said. But it had been, so...
Of course, the other things related to the suit are, when it uses its wings are not normal wings of light. It is mock anti-gravity levitation devices. So, okay.
Okay.
And then, the sword is an AMS enhanced sword, because it's anti-mobile suit swords.
What would be the point of anti-gravity when you're in 0G?
I don't know. Probably because they could use this on Earth as well, if necessary, I guess, is the
Sure,
thing.
I suppose that's fair.
Because they do, I mean, their earlier parts are on Earth, but, yeah. But when this shows up,
True.
it's not. And then, of course, the other important thing to talk about with this suit, besides all that, is the one giant Dragoon it controls. You know what I'm talking about, right? The Ziggurat.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ziggurat ship is technically speaking a giant Dragoon that it is remotely controlled by the Cal-re.
Right, because it's a two-seater,
Mhm.
and so seat 2 is steering this
Yeah. And
remotely.
yeah, so you can see there's one there, obviously, in the show. They have like a fucking fleet of them.
Uh-huh.
And these themselves have missile launchers, which you can kind of guess where those are if you're looking at this. It's a large flat wedge-shaped ship, very Star Wars looking, with a indent in the middle, with a beam cannon in the center area. You know, it's got some thrusters on the back, a wing on either side. All the little hexagonal hatches can pop open. Those are missile launchers. That's going to be seen there. And then, it also has, as mentioned, the beam cannons on the front of them. You can see them being fired here. So, yep. And these, I believe, are controlled mostly by Ingrid, just while hanging out in the back seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ingrid Trad-doll.
Right, okay, yeah, there
feels
are...
like a pointed name.
There are specifically 3 of them, and they all have their own names. The Ziggurats are Audrey, Brigitte, and Claudia.
Okay.
I don't know why they all have their own names, but they do.
Sure. Got to do something while producing this movie for 10 million years.
Yeah.
Let's give names to everything.
Anyway, yeah, then, this machine, is deployed, and then it gets fucking killed by the Mighty Strike Freedom. Because, Lacus goes, "You can kill for me, Kira, it's fine." And then Kira kills for her. Though, if I remember right, he does try giving them a chance, and then they just hang out in the cockpit while it explodes.
I mean, he runs them through.
Oh, right, he does stab them through the torso with the, is it with the katana? He actually does that with?
Yeah, with the katana.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know how much of a... I think you're right that there's something like that, but in the end, it's not like he waits for them to hang themselves. He kind of handles it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shall we move on to our last machine?
Oh, do we have one more? I thought it was just these 3. And, you know, what else?
I'm putting it up.
Oh, god damn it. Okay. I don't know shit about pinball. So I don't know if the Black Knight table is actually a good table. I know it's got a cool soundtrack.
I moved it where I did for a reason.
Oh, right, sorry. Look, I was trying to look at it. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm giving you more information.
That's fair. Oh, I guess, you know what? While you were doing this, I guess there is something I can pull up for us, which would be, I could show us the designs that almost happened for this movie, for the third faction. Or, I say third faction, it's the enemy faction, but you know what I mean. For the non... Zaft / Which book was it? Fuck, sorry. We got distracted while I'm trying to figure out which book had it in the back. Let's see. Pamphlet? No, it's not the pamphlet. Which book had that? It's not like I have that many Seed Freedom books. Oh, wait, did they do a Mechanics and World? I think that's what it was. Mechanics and World. Yes, okay, yeah, they did a Seed Frame Mechanics and World. Okay. Anyway, alright, let's look at this. Okay. I mean, it looks like an arcade machine to me, aesthetically. You know?
So this is Black Knight 2000.
Yeah.
It's released in 1989. It is the sequel to the original Black Knight pinball table from 1980.
Did the original one have a cool soundtrack? I never hear that
I
one.
don't think it did.
I was gonna say, I never hear that one get mentioned, so...
I think it's like the original one was like all right, and then this one was sick, is sort of the vibe I get,
Yeah.
but I confess I have not played original Black Knight. I've played a little 2000. So it's a very classic your flippers here with little side ramps, bumpers right here. You got a big wheel in the middle with the Black Knight's helmet on it with like a ring of lightning bolts for various effects on the board that can be activated by hitting, various triggers. You've got a little tunnel leading to a ramp. There's also the little bumpers in the back here. You have some gates that are like switches. You have some little mini switches right here that can go up and down. You have MagnaSave, which is a fun one because there's like a magnet that you can activate that if the ball goes down the side alley, unless you wouldn't be able to touch it, if MagnaSave is on, the magnet will grab it and move it back into play.
It's fucking cool for an arcade machine, actually. This has a lot of functions to it.
It's sick. I mean, it's a fucking, almost 40-year-old machine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because is it 1989?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same year I was born, so.
Yeah.
We were about the same age, I guess.
God,
I can't. That makes me calling it almost 40 making me feel.
Yeah. Designed by Steve Ritchie, who also did the Knight's voice, which is very important because you will. I mean,
he did a great job.
The Black Knight will be speaking to you while you play this. You can do it.
It has up to 3-ball multi-ball as well.
Okay.
Which multi-ball's always fun.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there's an upper flipper. I didn't realize this.
Okay, I'm assuming
Where
it's
is it?
one of those ones where it's like, when you hit that side, if you hit the left flipper, it'll,
Yeah, there's a flipper up on the upper layer here somewhere. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Okay, here, let me copy this. Well, it's annoying. I'm having to grab these off of an eBay listing.
Uh-huh.
And eBay, by default, wants you to give you, like, the thumbnail version, and you have sort of to trick it into giving you the full resolution one.
Yeah.
But you can see up by the bumpers, there's actually right here another little flipper.
Okay, yeah. It's got some cool FM synth tracks. That's the main thing I know it from, right? Is like the soundtrack. So, and I do listen to that regularly. I think it's FM synth. I don't know for sure. It sounds very FM synthy though.
Oh, I should say for any video viewers, this main one we're using is actually a in-game recreation from Pinball FX, but those are very authentic.
Okay.
So it's a reason.
Look, I imagine pinball people want the authenticity.
Yeah, no, the pinball, like, sometimes people will complain a little bit about the feel of one versus another, Pinball Arcade versus Pinball FX and blah, 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 but, like, the recreation of the field is, like, they go very hard on that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Funnily enough, my other pinball experience is also just mostly thinking about it because of a soundtrack. There was a PS1 game called Big Race USA Pro Pinball, and it's just a PlayStation 1 pinball game. I don't remember anything mechanically about it. I like its soundtrack, though. It had a good soundtrack. Which, I mean, I guess that's the thing. It's a very relaxing soundtrack, which I think is kind of what you want with a pinball game generally. Though, Black Knight does not have a relaxing soundtrack. It's very action-y for what it is.
Oh, yeah.
But it's great. It's also great.
But I think that's Black Knight 2000. It's a cool machine. You can see, if you want to get one off of eBay right now, it can be yours for $7,000.
Imagine the shipping also, because it's a fucking pinball machine. Or is that with the shipping?
It doesn't seem to. I don't see a listing for shipping. Usually they would include that, but I don't know.
Okay.
Oh shit! If you wanted, we could do related units. Okay. Here's the original Black Knight. It seems much less cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a simpler arcade game, but I mean, it's also, older, so it makes sense.
Sure, it's about 10 years older, right?
Oh god, okay, so that's fucking 79? Man.
No, actually 80.
Oh, sorry, 80, okay, but yeah, it's still almost 10 years, yeah.
This is how much things changed in that amount of time.
10 years of pinball. It's just, I mean, it's interesting to think about, right, because obviously, like, we play video games, and there's a lot of, like, interconnectivity between these things, but, like, I know nothing about pinball. or its history. I know it has a very rich history, and I know pinball people very much care, as mentioned. Like, if you get something that's simulating pinball, it better be fucking accurate, because people are going to care about that. Just something I find interesting.
I guess if I want to list it as a unit covered, I have to actually talk about it a little bit. So I'll say it does have a similar, like, two-tiered, like, thing where there's an upper area with a bunch of switches and bumpers. There are two flippers up in the upper area, so it's got a total of 4 flippers. It does also have MagnaSave, that magnet ball retrieval system. I feel like mostly what it's lacking is in presentation.
Yeah. No, that seems about right for me. It's not as bombastic feeling. You know, you look at the original, like, especially, like, now, to be fair, this machine is unpowered right here, but when the machine is powered, when you see all those lights on that one, it's like, oh, yeah, that's good.
True.
But nevertheless,
oh, do you want to get really sicko on this shit?
All right, yeah, sure, go for it. May as well.
There's its innards.
Ooh. Yep. That's what that.
Well,
yeah.
Sure are circuit boards.
Sure, it's circuit boards and lots of wires.
Uh-huh.
God, there's a lot of cables in there. I would have no clue what any of these do.
I want to see if I can... Okay, here's one of it lit up, just so we can have that comparison.
Yeah.
It seems like it's an important comparison to be able to make.
Okay. It has, still doesn't have as many things going on, but...
Right, and still not as energetic. And also, I feel like the lights aren't... The Black Knight 2000 lights feel like they're very good at directing your attention to specific elements, whereas this just sort of, like, is colors. Which is fine, but... I do think the fire on the kiosk looks really cool.
Does look cool.
But anyway, that's Black Knight and Black Knight 2000. You know what? I should list it as Williams Black Knight. That's the
company.
That's the way to do this. Yeah.
All right. Well,
because I always hate. Sometimes I do have to put parentheses to clarify a name because of overlap, but I hate doing it. It feels like cheating.
All right. Six, where can people find you in your work?
You can find me on Blue Sky at Sixdetmar, SAXDETTMIR. You can find my work at scanlinemedia.com or patreon.com/scanlinemedia. Yes, Dylan.
Yes. So sorry. I shouldn't have done this yet. I shouldn't have asked you yet because I meant to show because we talked about. I have the old units for the Black Knight.
Right. Yes.
So here are the original concepts. Circa 2006, I think. You have a weird fucking centaur
with like yawn shields on its shoulders.
Then you have this guy who's like a weird asymmetrical guy. I don't know what's going on with the arms.
This guy looks like a fucking why is my brain stopping? Not Mazinger. The other one.
Getter?
Yes, it looks like a Getter.
See, when I see it,
I mean, not like.
When I see it, it looks like a giant robo to me or something. Like the 90s giant robo, just all the roundness. But yeah.
That's fair.
But I mean, it's a weird looking motherfucker. And then, of course, here's I believe this is the Cal-re-A, just given the wings and everything. Funnily, some elements that do go to the final design, or some of the final designs, which is like those missile pods get used on like the Gelgoog and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Just interesting.
It's funny because that's the one that I think is like, I don't know if I think these two are better, but at least they're more interesting. The Cal-re-A, I think, is just a clear improvement over this prototype.
Yeah.
But
it's funny though too, because then you look at like since we're not going to ever have another Freedom episode again anyway, but it's like, oh, here's a new Freedom rough draft, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's a Freedom Gundam again. And it's got the little beam cannon in the chest and stuff. And this is the one that is just eventually becomes, the Rising Freedom. Obviously, the Rising Freedom simplifies the wings. Though, you can actually see in this rough right here, you do start to get, like, the wings that the final one has, like, used here.
Yeah.
Just interesting. It's just funny also when you see the label about this being 2006, though. It's just like, right, this movie was in development for fucking ever. And then the Justice also has even has the X-Wing backpack with the second ruff there. So that was also an old one.
It's funny because that's the kind of stuff that I'm like feels very. A lot of the backpacks in Seed stuff feel very half-assed to me in a way that always made me feel like they were last minute or something. And it's like, oh no, you guys had 20 years to sit on how much this design sucks.
Not only that, the funniest one, instead of a Ziggurat, it was originally an Act Guy, but you can see that it's still got the Justice in it because look at the backpack. They just changed this to a Ziggurat in the final movie. But if you look at the feet, it's got the blades through the feet the same way. If you look at the backpack, it's obviously the same backpack as the Justice. Doesn't have the horns sticking up through the head, though, like the Ziggurat has. But it's just very funny to me that they even... That's, like, you know, all the early stuff is just so... How little changed for a lot of the stuff, honestly.
And how... You know, I'm sorry to Okawara, but how little changed given how much I don't think it's very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
well, I mean, even the Cal-re looks fucking terrible in the movie because they use the same gold that they use on the Akatsuki. So you just have this nightmare vision of gold filigree all over it that looks so much worse than, like, the way it looks toned down on, like, models and the sete and whatnot. You know, so
for you know, for video listeners, here's an example of what we're talking about. It looks, especially in motion, not quite nauseating, but bad.
Well, it's interesting because this is like the way that when they reanimated a lot of the scenes for Seed HD or Seed Destiny HD, how they, like, you know, applied like a filter over the Akatsuki that looks very digital and really weird to me. And I was like, well, that looks weird in Seed Destiny and like the Seed HD Destiny because you know, that was like a while back. And then this movie went for that exact look again on the gold. And I'm like, oh no, that was an intentional choice. I think it looks bad. I just don't think it looks very good, you know? I think, like, I think the Akatsuki would look better if it wasn't, like, a reflective, shiny mess. I'm still also thinking about, like, how they released that real grade that is, you know, that they had they advertised, oh, look, we made an even shinier version of the plastic we use. And the thing is, I don't actually hate the Akatsuki as a design, but this eats all the detail to me. Like when you make it that shiny. You know?
In person, I like it, actually. On the models, I'm sorry, the models, I'm like, actually, because it doesn't have the weird digital blurring effect, and it's just how reflections work in real life, I actually like it.
I don't know. I mean, it looks better than the standard chrome, but I just think this would have looked better in, like, the Hyakushiki 2.0, like, more flat gold.
Yeah.
Which I know isn't accurate. I know in the show, it's also supposed to be a nightmare reflective gold, but nevertheless.
Well... And it's just a fundamental, like, there are other designs we could talk about where we have this same divide.
Yeah.
So.
Now, funnily, it is funny that they did make it so, even though it's very reflective looking, it's not actually reflective. Because if you look, you're not seeing reflections, like, of the background everywhere on that one. Whereas if you look at that one, you see it everywhere.
And yeah, in the HD, it looks really bad.
Yeah. Anyway, alright. You can find me at Low Poly... Oh, yeah. That machine. That's the other one that's very, Karura. You can find me at Low Poly Robot on busky.org or .com. What the fuck is the website? Busky.app. Right. I'm like,
sure.
What is the website? Yeah, it's busky. Sorry, bluesky.social is for the fucking profile, and the website is bluesky.app or busky.app. Whatever. I don't care. Look. You all know how to search on Blue Sky. You know I'm using Low Poly Robot. That's me. Anyway.
Busky makes me feel good. That's your quote. Peace.
Peace.